Have you ever done something small, something you barely even noticed, and a girl reacted in a way that left you shocked? Well, here's the truth. Girls notice everything, even the tiniest gestures. Every glance, every movement, every little word, it all matters more than you think. And today, I'm going to reveal why these small actions can have a huge impact on how she feels about you and how she remembers you long after the moment is over. Welcome back to Magnetic Desire, my channel. I'm Jessica, and today we're diving deep into the hidden psychology of women, how subtle gestures speak louder than words and can completely change the way she sees you. So make sure you pay close attention, because these insights can literally change the way you connect with her. Let's start with one of the most powerful ways girls pick up on your behavior: your eyes. Women are wired to notice microsignals, especially through eye contact. A glance that lingers just a little longer than usual, that's curiosity. A quick, fleeting smile when you enter the room, that's interest. Even if you say nothing, your eyes are communicating volumes. Imagine walking into a coffee shop. You catch her eye for just a second, but your smile is genuine, warm, and confident. That tiny moment could spark thoughts about you for hours, even days. Why? Because women process emotional cues in ways men often completely miss. And it's not just about looking at her, it's about how you look at her. Eye contact paired with subtle body language tells her more than words ever could. Too much stare and it feels intense. Too little and it feels distant. But just the right amount, it conveys confidence, interest, and calmness all at the same time. Now, it's not just visual cues that matter, it's also tone of voice. How you say something communicates far more than the words themselves. A calm, warm tone makes her feel safe. A playful tone sparks curiosity. And a distracted, rushed tone, that signals disinterest immediately. Even when texting, your choice of words, punctuation, and timing convey a tone. A simple, "Hey, how are you?" can feel completely different depending on whether it's enthusiastic, casual, or rushed. Girls pick up on that instantly, often without realizing it themselves. Next, let's talk about small acts of thoughtfulness. Girls notice when you do things that show you care, even if they seem insignificant to you. Remembering her favorite coffee order, complimenting her on a small achievement, noticing a change in her hair or outfit, these tiny gestures stick. One guy I knew would remember what type of latte she always orders. Months later, she mentioned it made her feel genuinely seen. That's the power of subtlety. Grand romantic gestures are great for movies, but in real life, small, consistent actions leave the deepest impressions. Body language is another area where subtle gestures shine. Women are masters at reading posture, movement, and subtle shifts in energy. Leaning slightly forward when she speaks, mirroring her movements, keeping open and confident postural of these signals communicate connection and interest without saying a single word. Imagine being at a group gathering. She's talking about her day, and you subtly lean in, nod, and show you're fully engaged. That small adjustment communicates far more than a dozen compliments ever could. On the other hand, fidgeting, avoiding eye contact, or keeping your arms crossed signals disinterest or discomfort instantly. Listening is another subtle but powerful gesture. Girls notice when you're genuinely listening, not just nodding, but really absorbing the small details she shares. The stories she tells, the jokes she laughs at, the things she mentions in passing, all of these are opportunities to show attention. For example, if she casually mentions a favorite show or a hobby, remembering it and asking about it later shows her that she's been heard and valued. That tiny memory can make her feel special and seen in a way that sticks. Timing and patience are also key. Subtle gestures aren't just about action, they're about knowing when to act and when to wait. Girls notice patience, sending the right message at the right time, giving her space when needed, responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively. These are subtle but extremely impactful gestures. Impatience, over-texting, or rushing her to respond communicates insecurity or desperation. even if your intentions are good. Subtlety often requires waiting, observing, and acting in the moment when your actions have the strongest effect. Humor and playfulness are subtle gestures too. A slight joke, playful teasing, or light banter can create emotional connection without ever needing to say, "I like you." Girls notice how you make them feel. If she laughs, feels comfortable, and enjoys your presence, she will remember that feeling long after the moment has passed. One guy made a small joke about a mix-up during lunch. Nothing serious, just light teasing. She laughed, felt comfortable, and remembered him as fun, confident, and playful. That small, playful gesture left a lasting impression. It's important to realize that these gestures often work behind the scenes. She might not show her appreciation or feelings immediately, but subtle actions leave impressions that linger in her mind. Weeks later, those moments influence her emotions toward you. That's why consistency is so important. Little gestures repeated over time create a deep emotional impact that feels natural rather than forced. Even physical presence plays a subtle role. Standing at a comfortable distance, mirroring her movements, or a gentle, appropriate touch on the shoulder can communicate warmth and connection. Women notice these micro interactions without even thinking about them. They are wired to pick up on tiny signs of care, attention, and respect. Girls also notice confidence in quiet moments. Confidence isn't about grand declarations. It's in the little things, the way you hold yourself, how you engage in conversation, the small gestures that show you are comfortable in your skin. Confidence paired with subtle gestures communicates security, calmness, and trustworthiness, all traits that naturally attract women. Another key point is emotional sensitivity. Women notice how you respond to emotional cues, not just words. A small sign of empathy, a listening ear, or a thoughtful response can mean far more than a dramatic gesture. For example, if she mentions being stressed and you respond with understanding rather than trying to immediately solve it, she feels heard and supported. That's subtle, but incredibly powerful. Even your social awareness matters. Women notice when you're attuned to social cues, show you treat other people, how you respond in group situations, your energy and attention. Subtle gestures of respect and consideration towards everyone around you signal emotional intelligence, which subconsciously attracts women. Ultimately, girls notice everything from your eyes, tone, gestures, body language, attention, patience, humor, empathy, to confidence. These subtle gestures communicate your character, emotions, and intentions in ways words often cannot. Small, consistent actions make a far bigger impact than dramatic declarations. So next time you think small actions don't matter, remember this. Every glance, every gesture, every thoughtful moment is being observed and remembered. The key is consistency, patience, and awareness. By mastering these subtle gestures, you can naturally create connection, attraction, and emotional impact without ever needing to force it. Thanks for watching. I'm Jessica, and this was Magnetic Desire. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below which subtle gesture you've noticed in a girl that surprised you. Stay magnetic, and I'll see you in the next video.